Before we start here, I just want to thank everyone who watched the previous Battlefront video. It got 8,000 views, pretty much. I mean, it's 7,900 something at the moment, so it's definitely going to hit 8,000 at some point, so thank you very much, you guys. I'm incredibly grateful for that. And if I have known it would have gotten that amount of outreach and coverage, I would have put a lot more work into that video. So I apologise now if there were some parts or segments of that video that were definitely below par. Anyway, I have a bit more of a concerning topic to go over with you guys today. Something that has been on my mind since the announcement of the next generation consoles, and more recently since I started playing a bunch of online-only games. Having to sign in to access multiplayer segments is acceptable, we're going to have to. But to access single-player and local-based game modes such as instant action in Battlefront, what if we need to have access to the internet and sign into an EA-based service such as Battlelog or Origin? Now, if Battlefront has some sort of offline mode option, this is acceptable. But I still have that nagging, horrible little voice in the back of my Battlefront head telling me that there's a good chance that to reduce the so-called pirating of the title, and I say that with almost sarcasm because there is a lot of controversy around that area, that EA are going to implement a DRM system and force us to verify the game each time by logging in before playing it. This creates a number of problems. First and foremost, what about users with no access to the internet? People with little or limited access to the internet, as well as internet usage caps, know all too well the pain of having to be online to play their games. I myself have been one of these users, and frankly it sucks. Having to sign into the multiplayer of a game is acceptable, you're going to need a solid internet connection anyway to use it, but having to do the same process for the single player segment of the game, it makes no sense and it's incredibly annoying. So what should DICE ultimately do? I can understand their apprehension due to piracy and people downloading the game instead of purchasing it. I also believe, however, that those who download the game will either end up buying the game eventually for the multiplayer experience, if they do value what the developers have made, or just simply would not have purchased the game in the first place. People like to quote piracy statistics, but they also don't like to admit that those who pirated the game likely would not have purchased the title anyway. So for most of the downloads, it's not lost revenue at all. And the fact that video games are earning more and more money year on year, I cannot see how this is a forefront problem that stops them from developing a game for user experience and ease of access. The single player experience should not be affected at all. It should be as simple as booting up the game and moving into your gameplay experience. I don't want to hear of any weird create an account rubbish and nonsense, where they want you to create an account and link it with Battlelog and then link it with your Facebook and tweet it and post stuff about it all over the place to try and increase their social media presence. I don't want that. All I want to do is play a game. If you want to know why people are getting angry at you, stop with all the features that ultimately just give you the benefit. It's stupid features like social interaction which really shouldn't be a part of a gameplay experience. You're there to get yourself immersed in a game, to make sure that you're in the atmosphere and in the environment that you're supposedly fighting in, and you're having a great time killing all the enemies in front of you, regardless of what difficulty you're playing on. You shouldn't have to have a feature where you've just finished the mission and then it tweets or does something to tell your friends that you've done it, or offers you to socially interact with other people on Battlelog. There shouldn't be any of that. Okay, for multiplayer, maybe. But that's a very, very big stretch for multiplayer. To be honest, multiplayer should be as simple as the single player in terms of just accessing it and playing it. Thankfully, despite all of this ranting I've just done, I doubt EA will introduce a DRM system for Battlefront. Not only has their history with DRM been incredibly troubled, with the release of SimCity being a complete fiasco and disaster, but the EA Labels president Frank Gibeau has already said that DRM is a failed dead-end strategy. So the chances of Battlefront having a restricted single player through some sort of DRM system are low. I'm not going to rule it out entirely, since we are still decently far away from release, but I will say that I myself doubt it will happen. I still have concerns though, but for the moment it's better to assume it's not going to happen. One of the little concerns that I still have is that they will ask you to create some sort of weird EA or Battlefront account so that it can track your statistics and do stuff. As far as I'm concerned, all I should have to do is go into Battlefront just like the old game, create a little profile and just go from there. Do it based on IP or something. I don't want to have to put in my email address and put in all this stuff so you can send me promotional nonsense. It should be as simple as just playing the game. Anyway, that's it for today. If you like these views or opinions, then be sure to tell me in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.